Hello friends, welcome. For last few days, I have been recording videos giving you insight as to what happened in the Indian telecom industry since 1995 when it was open to privatization. Now, friends, over a period of time, we took certain policy decisions, and these have been captured in my video. The link of those videos are going to be, I'll provide them in the description of this recording. Now, as we move forward in time, what happened was that we started giving both spectrum and licenses based on administrative mechanism. Initially, the licenses were given through auction, and then with the WL controversy, both licenses as well as spectrum was started giving based on first come first served basis. Now that was exploited in year 2007-8, which resulted in 2G scam. Now 2G scam resulted in a Supreme Court judgment which led to cancellation of licenses, and that created a market perception that there had been a huge loss to the exchequer. That in turn impacted the auction design. So what happened was the auction got transformed into a administrative mechanism of assigning spectrum at reserve price. All these I have explained in my video. So why I am saying that auction basically became a mechanism to assign spectrum at reserve price, because as the auctions were held, lot of spectrum lay waste and were not sold. Almost like, if you see the auctions typically starting from year 2010 till 2022, only 3 auctions where a bulk of the spectrum got sold, which is 2010, 2014 and 2015. And in rest of the auction, most of the spectrum actually lay underutilized and unsold, which as well as the reserve price of the auctions, since it was held very high, all the spectrum that got sold was at reserve price. And that resulted in a situation that nobody else could bid in the auction, and only the market leaders were able to get spectrum, and the rest of the spectrum lay waste and unused, which otherwise could have been used by a competitor to able to increase the competitiveness of the market. Now today, what I am doing is I have created a software, and since I have aggregated the data of the subscriber numbers since 2012 till date, so what I have done is that I am going to show you and give you a feel as to how the competitiveness of the telecom industry got destroyed, and you can see it for yourself what happened as you go through the simulation. So this simulation has got 2 axes. One is y-axis, another is x-axis. Now x-axis has got the subscriber numbers, and y-axis has the number of operators. Now when I run the simulation, this date you see here, this date is going to move on a monthly basis, and as the date moves, these dots are going to move in the forward direction or the reverse direction, and the size will also increase depending upon how many subscribers the operator gathers with period of time. So as I run this simulation, you will see that how the telecom industries, most of the healthy operators with a lot of subscribers basically became dead. They went into oblivion, and only 2 operators are now have remained. We are healthy operator, and the rest of the 2 operators are losing subscribers. Okay, so let me run the simulation and I can talk this through as we move through the simulation. So let me just start this. So you see that in year 2013 we have Bharti leading the show, right? You can see Bharti almost like 200 million subscribers. Then we have Arcom 118 million, Idea, BSNL, Aircel, Tata, Telenor, and then there were some small operators. Okay. Now, as we moving in time in 2015, and you will see in 2016 what will happen. Interesting thing will happen. Then we will have Reliance Jio in the scene. And from 2016 onward, by the way, the auction actually became a means of assigning spectrum administratively, because most of the spectrum remain unsold. So you see, Reliance Jio going, and rest of the operators are all shrinking. The BSNL is now has stabilized in year 2018. It has never moved beyond that, and you'll see it will be held here. And Vodafone Idea, after Vodafone and Idea combined, and now they basically became very big, and now they are shrinking, right? Reliance Jio is going in this direction. Bharti is increasing subscriber. BSNL is now, what is happening? You see, BSNL is slowly losing subscriber. Vodafone Idea losing subscriber. BSNL after some point of time will go below 100 million, and Vodafone Idea will rest here in 222 million. Now look at this state of this market. Does it not create anxiety in yourself as a consumer that you really don't have any choice? Now this is the final state of the situation. So do you have any hope for these operators, BSNL and Vodafone Idea? What makes you think that these people are going to reverse their direction and going to move in the forward direction and will be able to compete with these big players which are already way ahead in the game? You tell me. You provide your own comments in the description section. I'm very eager to hear, because we can't be like ostrich, closing our eyes and thinking that everything will be all right. We have to take some strong decisions, and those strong decisions may not be liked also by the big players, because they are leading the show. And what is happening is that if these two players, right, BSNL and Vodafone Idea, if they further shrink and if they go below these numbers, BSNL is already below 100 million, and if Vodafone Idea goes below 100 million, then what is going to happen to the telecom sector? You tell me. You will have no choice. So we are in a dire state of situation, and we need to do something to fix this problem. So what I'm going to do in the next video, I'm going to talk about how the auction design needs to change and what should have been done in the beginning itself to make the auction design more robust to prevent a situation like this. Now this situation did not happen just automatically. It happened because you extracted huge amount of money from the operators in form of auction. Like if you look at Vodafone Idea, you will find that they have a debt of 2 lakh crores. Out of which 50,000 crores of debt, around 40 to 50,000 crores was the AGR issue. And I don't want people to get confused with the AGR issue. People who don't know, you just leave that aside. Rest of the 1,50,000 crore is debt on account of auction, right? Now imagine the kind of situation that we are in. BSNL doesn't have to worry because BSNL is getting funded by the government on spectrum, but BSNL is not able to execute. Okay, so really we are in a big problem. So you guys need to understand, do some kind of introspection and see what is that we need to do in order to improve the situation. We can't let this situation go in this manner forever. And I am quite hopeful that the government, there are good people in the government who really wants to work and make the situation better. Probably they haven't got good advice. The auction designs was not done properly. The pricing of spectrum was not done properly, because from 2016 onwards, all spectrum got sold at reserve price. Most of the spectrum got sold at reserve price, and almost a bulk of the spectrum, maybe 50 to 60%, sometimes 80%, sometimes 100%, most of the circle remain unsold. Okay friends, so I'll come back to you with a new video next time regarding auction design as well as regarding satellite spectrum, as to why satellite spectrum should not be auctioned. It is not the right thing to do. And why, I already did a video and you should watch that video, why Supreme Court did not, why Supreme Court judgment has been misinterpreted to continuously justify that we should auction spectrum at high prices. Supreme Court never said that auction is the only criteria. So there were certain caveats which Supreme Court basically said, on which it gave the judgment on auction. Those caveats were very conveniently forgotten and never referred to. So let me give you a peek. I will point you to my video. Supreme Court basically said what? Supreme Court said that the value of spectrum is governed by the supply and demand, right? How much demand is there for the spectrum and how much supply is there. So supply and demand equation governs the value of a commodity. Now, and that is why it is impossible to assign that commodity where the demand is very high and the supply low based on first come first serve basis, and therefore you need to do an auction. Now with the current scenario that we are going through, where we are auctioning spectrum where demand is minuscule and the supply is very, very high, and therefore most of the spectrum is left unsold, and whoever buys the spectrum can't afford to buy everything because their business case does not justify, and therefore whatever is left out cannot be bought by any other competitor in the market, because they don't have the capacity of they don't have the capacity as the big players have in the market. So we as a consumer are suffering. So you need to understand this, and therefore we need to do something in order to prevent this situation. We all have to think through, we have to all think together to figure out what we need to do in order to resolve this situation, so that we don't get into a state of the telecom sector where all the ancillary businesses which run on the telecom sector, for example the OTT business, the startups, all kind of broadband, everything, those will start suffering because of our inability to absorb technology. For example, 5G we have deployed, but 5G deployment is incomplete because we haven't deployed 5G indoors. We haven't deployed 5G voice. Only one operator is capable of doing 5G voice because they have a pure 5G network. Another operator does not have the capability to do 5G voice. It's still dependent upon 4G to carry voice, and it's only doing 5G to do data. So we haven't done 5G properly. We have to do a lot of work on 5G, and I don't think the operators have the capacity, after having spent so much amount of money on auctions, to do more investments. Okay, so I'll come back to you with the next video, and many thanks for watching this video right till the end. Thank you very much.